Dallas gained over 100 more yards than the Eagles in that game, yet they still lost. I mean, that's a problem, right? You're putting your head down and right like it's true. Like, Dallas looked good. Dallas should have won that game. And that's coming from somebody that does not root for the Dallas Cowboys. But I will be honest, they should have won that game, but they didn't. And that's the big problem for me is we've seen this time and time again in the regular season. They can go in, whether they win or look competitive in a lot of big games, they don't give you enough of that sense of confidence to say, all right, Dallas, I know you love them, Ryan. Dallas does not show me that they are a Super Bowl contender. I think they've got talent on that roster to maybe look like one. But on the field, I didn't see it against San Francisco when they were at full strength, and I didn't see it against the Eagles right now. And those are two of the biggest tests for me for a team that has Super Bowl expectations. And I think that's a major problem. The Miami Dolphins, who do not beat good teams, period. They are frauds. Now, they're great offensively, so you have to put them in the top 10. You have to give the Miami Dolphins credit for the fact that in any game, offensively, they can keep themselves in it because they're as potent as anybody can be. But their defense continues to be a question mark. And I know now Jalen Ramsey's back. You think it's going to be more at full strength. They're probably going to look better, and I think there is a good chance that that's the case. But the defense has been an issue the entire year. And when I watch the Dolphins against the Chiefs, when I watch the Dolphins against the Bills, as two great examples, they S the bed every single time. How are we supposed to take a team like that seriously? And I think that's one of the most difficult things about that. If they can get the defense on track, and they can be, let's say, top 12 defense overall. Now we're talking. In a very crowded AFC. I think now we're looking at the Dolphins and going, okay, I'm a little bit more confident in them. But right now, it's insanely difficult to take them seriously, but you can't rule them out because, again, they can keep themselves in games offensively if that's the case. I guess you could say, what's the thing that makes you the most confident, if there's anything, in the Panthers heading into Thursday Night Football?
They're playing the Bears.
That's the right answer.
No, I'm serious. That's about it. I mean, look, the Panthers are banged up. Brian Burns is not going to play. He's out with a concussion. C.J. Henderson's out with a concussion. This offense is struggling. There's not a lot to hang your hat on. Other than, an Iowa under, there may not be a better safe bet right now than taking the under in this game Thursday night.
I think Michigan probably runs the table, but I am a little worried about this Penn State game, only because I like Michigan. Penn State's been a huge letdown this year. The offensive line's not very good. Even with Singleton and Allen, neither are even averaging 5 yards per carry, even though they're both NFL running backs. The defense has been really good, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, I'm not saying the numbers should be higher because I don't think you could make it like a full touchdown with Michigan in this game because that's a tough place to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Still. You know what I mean? In Happy Valley. But
you thought the number would be closer to 3?
No. I think the number would be
closer to
right.
7.
No, I just think the number's right. I would need 7 to feel good about Penn State. I don't like the 5.5 a whole lot. I played Michigan on the money line.
It's now down to 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. Like, everybody likes, all the money's going to pour in right now on Penn State. I wonder what happens if we get like cheaper money line prices with Michigan. I'm just thinking about matchup. How does Penn State win this game? Because Michigan's defense is the best in the country. They're only giving up 5 points per game, but they haven't played anybody. So this is going to be the best offense they've seen, even though they haven't,
it's like a 10-14 game. That's how
they haven't lived up to expectations. But the offensive line for Penn State hasn't been really good. They're going to have to try to protect Drew Aller in this game. He can't push the ball down the field, and Penn State's not explosive with the run game. So, like you said, it would have to be a 13-10 game where Penn State just controls the clock. And it's like Allen 4-yard carries, Singleton 4-yard carries, and then you have to force turnovers. You have to get after J.J. McCarthy. So you have to shut down the run game, which Penn State is fully capable of doing. They're a top 10 run defense. And then you have to get after the quarterback, and you have to force J.J. McCarthy to turn the ball over. Maybe you get like some special team stuff, some block punts.
That's what I was thinking too.
But that's a lot to ask for in this game. So if Michigan wins this one, I think they beat up on Ohio State. They're getting in for sure. For sure.
Yeah, my pick is Duke, so I know that's kind of boring, and they're very high up in the odds. The one I picked to be the runner-up at the start of the year, though, is Creighton. They're tipping off later tonight as like a 35-point favorite, but you put them, 30-1. I think that's kind of the price that's generally out there. I just love the way they're constructed. They lost Ryan Nembhard to the portal, Arthur Kaluma to the portal, but there were some whispers that maybe they had some locker room stuff last year. People didn't totally get along, and I think losing Kaluma actually ends up being a net benefit for them. And they brought in Stephen Ashworth, a guy from Utah State that made 123s for a NCAA tournament team. And you add that to Trey Alexander, he gets a little more playmaking responsibility now without Nemhard. Baylor Shireman's a very versatile wing. And then Kalkbrenner is just like the heartbeat of that team. Dominates the paint on both ends. McDermott was never really known for having good defenses until Kalkbrenner came along. And now they're just dominant at the rim with him in there. I think Creighton's got really high upside. I think they're a little better than last year, and they were, like a bucket away from going to the Final Four. So the Blue Jays, I think, are a future team worth taking a shot on.
No, I'm looking at an MVP right now. I was looking at an MVP with Ant before the season even started. So on my NBA show Inside the Association on Stadium Network, we had a segment where we kind of gave our too early MVP picks, things like that, just because we're getting up for the season. And one, we were just exhausted trying to find content on the show because we're going 5 days a week in the whole season. But he's a guy that, when we saw his just leap from last season and what he was able to do, all-star last year, gets into the first round against the Denver Nuggets and puts them to work, averaged over 30. Then you saw what he did with USA Basketball in the World Championships. And now we're even just seeing just him add another level to what he's been and what he's really shown from the previous year. So I think Anthony Edwards at that value would be a great pick. I honestly don't believe that there will be a big man that wins the MVP this year. I think it'll be a guard or a wing four type player. I'm thinking of guys like Jason Tatum. Of course, Anthony Edwards is in there. So those are the two names that come to mind right away, or even a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But Anthony Edwards is a dude that if he can have Minnesota in the right position, and the right position for them would definitely be top 6 in the West. But then also if they can try and maybe crack the top 5, and I'm not going to say top 4 because that's very wishful thinking, but if they are a top 5 or maybe top 6 team in the Western Conference, and Ant is putting up numbers like he is even this month, averaging 31, I'd be shocked if he's not either the favorite for MVP when we get towards the end of the regular season or the co-favorite. So he's just a guy that just feels like he's destined to get that MVP trophy.